Whether we like it or not, bad health is due to a lifestyle that we have created for ourselves. Just because you actively make a decision to live a lifestyle that results in poor health, you can conversely actively make a decision to live in a healthy lifestyle that results in good health.
Here's our dear friend, David Jockers, to explore self-care.
So at the time, I was 27 years old when I started my practice, $170,000 in debt, scared, but like just this mentality that I'm going to make it happen. Build it and they will come. I was ready to hustle and work as hard as I can. And my man Enoch, he was one of my first patients right over here. And so anyways, that's exactly what I did. And I would work 90 to 100 hours. I mean, my whole life was built. I lived in my clinic, worked as hard as I possibly could, slept maybe 6, 7 hours a night. Other than that, I was working, and I built, by the world standards, a very successful clinic. I was financially, I was out of debt, okay? Had paid that off. I was successful. I was helping people. People were healing, but I wasn't. And so on the inside, I was building disease, and it manifested externally on my nose. And I developed skin cancer on my nose. Okay, and at first I thought, this is just acne. I could see it in the mirror. I'm like, this is just acne. This is going to go away. And when it didn't, okay, I know enough as a doctor to know what's normal and what's not normal. And after 6 months, it not going away, big, asymmetrical, red, I realized finally I had to take inventory of my life, right? And, God really whispered words that I actually created that myself, right? That this cancer right here was my fault. And I was looking at myself in the mirror. Metastatic skin cancer is what killed my grandfather. It's in my family. I had been sunburnt growing up as a bodyboarding and surfing way more than somebody should, and I wasn't taking care of my internal environment. And so it ended up manifesting there. And I took inventory of my life, and I said, because the greatest thing was when I heard that voice that said, I created this, right? That literally it was my fault. That was an awesome thing. Not to shame myself, but it actually gave me power. It empowered me, because if I could create this, if I had a role in this, then I could have a role in getting out of it. And so I took inventory of my life, and the first thing I looked at was my mindset. My whole life was driven by a fear of failure. I was so scared to fail. And so that was my driving force in life at that period of time. And fear, in the Bible it talks about, there's no fear in love, right? And perfect love casts out all fear. Love is an energy of healing. Fear is an energy of chronic disease. So I looked at that and I said, you know what? Every day, my thoughts, I'm literally creating chronic disease in my body. And so I had to take I had to really work on myself emotionally, spiritually, and understand my identity in Christ. That I was called to be a victor and overcomer, and I could be healed. And in fact, that He went to the cross for me to be healed. And so I had to take ownership of my identity and see myself through that light first. Second thing I needed to do was really look at what I was putting in my body. Okay, and as a chiropractor, I wasn't even getting adjusted the way I should and taking care of my spine the way I should, because I was so committed to working, that was just going to get in the way. And so I needed to start taking care of my own spine and nervous system. My nutrition, I was eating probably better than most of you guys in here, but what I will tell you is that at night, because I was working so hard, okay, that I would get these massive cravings at night. Okay, my stress hormones were all over the place, and I would eat healthy carbs, okay? So like Ezekiel bread, which I thought was, that's healthy bread, okay? It's sprouted. So I would eat Ezekiel bread and I would put coconut oil on it. I only had this little refrigerator, right? And so, because I was living in my clinic at the time, I'd put coconut oil on it, I'd put frozen blueberries on it, and I would eat like 6 pieces of bread like that, right? Just massive blood sugar spike, right? I'd eat myself into a food coma and then I'd pass out. And anybody here ever do that before? Probably, right? It was emotional. It was really an emotional issue because I was so committed to working. I was pushing away any sort of relationship, things like that. It was just, to me, it was just all about working and grinding. And so I was doing that. I was living in my clinic. I was working out at a 24-hour gym across the street. And I was literally working out every day, which is not healthy. Okay, like exercising intensely. When you're in your 20s, you think you can do it, but I was overtraining and I was under-resting, not sleeping enough or not sleeping effectively, and I was training every day, and I would shower in the gym, and they didn't have a shower filter, so what's in typical tap water? Chlorine, fluoride, disinfectant byproducts coming right down on my face, okay? Not healthy at all. And so I bought a house really close to my clinic so I could still, it's hard to like all of a sudden shut down. It was literally walking distance from my clinic, closest house to my clinic. Bought that house, got a whole house water filtration system. And at this period of time, I mean, this was literally 2010. Nobody was talking about a ketogenic diet. I never even heard that word. But I realized, hey, I just didn't feel good when I was eating sugar and carbs. And I already was teaching a lower carb diet. So I started taking these things out of my diet and out of my lifestyle, went low carb, started doing fasting on a regular basis. And I know Dr. Group talked to you guys about fasting if you were there. Started doing fasting. I would do whole day fasts, just water fasts. I would do intermittent fasting, which is something I still practice. Any of you guys hear my presentation last year? I went into detail on fasting, one of the oldest known health remedies, and it doesn't cost you anything. And so this is what I was doing, and in eating, very low carb, moderate protein, high good fat diet. And in literally 3 months, my cancer faded, okay? And now it's just like this tiny, tiny, tiny little scar on my nose. All natural, right? Just changing my diet, my lifestyle. And when I did that, I realized there was a purpose behind it, and that I had victory over it. And so now this gave me a level of authority to speak that into the people around me. And so I started telling my story. Before that, I was hiding it, right, from my patient. I didn't want my patients to know I'm Dr. Jockers, right, that I had this. And so then I started letting people know, hey, this is what was actually happening to me. I was destroying my body from the inside out. And we started attracting lots of different cancer patients and using protocols like the ketogenic diet. We've seen tremendous, tremendous results helping people. But ultimately, for myself, this has given me this platform.
That's some really important information from Dr. Jockers, isn't it?
Absolutely. And if you've learned something new, please share this on your social media and let your friends and family know about the truth about cancer. Thanks, and God bless.